Putin breaking news. This one's on Prigozhin. The mutiny attempt on June 24 by Wagner Group boss Yevgeny Prigozhin, according to a former Russian diplomat who resigned in protest of President Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine and spoke to Newsweek, effectively ended any hopes he had of entering Russia's political arena. After Prigozhin and his fighters gave up their «march for justice» and retreated from southern Russia to within 120 miles of Moscow, Boris Bondarev, Russia's first and only diplomat to publicly quit over Putin's war in Ukraine, was asked if Prigozhin has a political future. The Wagner Group CEO claimed he took control of 2 military hubs in southern Russia and marched on Moscow in a «march of justice» against the country's military leadership during his aborted mutiny, which lasted less than 24 hours. The Russian oligarch stated that he wanted Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov to step down from their positions as the leaders of Russia's war in Ukraine. Bondarev, who served as Russia's representative to the UN in Geneva until he resigned in public in May 2022, claimed that on June 24 Prigozhin missed an opportunity to execute his uprising in a way that would have garnered him support. To join him, he needed the support of the military and other armed organizations, so he had to take political action. The former diplomat advised that he draw a clear picture of his objectives, including political ones. After Russia's failed spring 2022 attempt to take Kyiv, the Kremlin enlisted Prigozhin's paramilitary organization, the Wagner Group, in Putin's war in Ukraine. Military analysts have concluded that the Kremlin establishment became increasingly concerned about Prigozhin as the war progressed, perceiving him as a more dangerous political figure. In the weeks leading up to his mutiny attempt, the Russian tycoon's public feud with the military establishment reached a boiling point when he publicly questioned Putin's justifications for launching a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. He claimed that Putin had been fed these justifications as lies by the top brass in the Kremlin. Hours later, he began his revolt. Even as he ramped up his verbal assault on Shoigu and Gerasimov, he was steadily rising in the polls as a figure Russians trusted and were proud of for the first time in May and June. The main activity of Prigozhin during Russia's war in Ukraine, according to Vlad Mikhaichnenko, an expert in the post-communist transformation of Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union at the University of Oxford, UK, as previously reported by Newsweek, has always been trying to capitalize on the war and amass more assets and resources in Russia itself. Mikhaichnenko claims that Prigozhin wanted to get a formal government post, or a big political leadership role, i.e. to convert his military assets into tangible economic and political assets inside Russia. Bondarev claimed that on June 24 Prigozhin spoiled and ruined his potentially good relations with the army, due to poor planning and management of his political campaign. His political skills are lacking. According to Bondarev, what he says is quite real, and he says the right things about why this war was started in the first place, how the oligarchs and corrupt ministers' officials make fortunes on this, and that this war is needed by no one, people are dying. According to the disgraced diplomat, Prigozhin's failure lies in his inability to convert his criticism into a coherent political platform or network of supporters within the country. Putin's elite do not like him and are afraid of him because he is an outsider. He's not like the rest of the herd, and he doesn't wait around for orders from above. He takes initiative, and he has the kind of courage that Putin's elite don't have. He's an outsider, and without huge support from people in society from low ranks and middle ranks, officers, he could not prevail, Bondarev said. Whatever plans Prigozhin had, Bondarev said, he had to abandon them and turn back. You could say, perhaps he didn't see enough support, but he didn't do anything really to get the support. Very strange goal for a coup, as Bondarev put it, was Prigozhin's stated intention to remove Shoigu. If you want to do something, make sure your goals are crystal clear and interesting, so that other people will look up to you and think, wow, that's our guy. Bondarev continued, but nobody wants to march upon Moscow to fight just to get rid of some minister of defense and just to get another minister of defense nobody cares about. Therefore, I believe he made an error in judgment and badly handled his political campaign.